CGI as a business was founded in 1976 by Serge Godin and his friend Andre Imbeau, and they founded their own IT services and consultancy company in the basement of Serge's family home in Montreal, and they have grown to 69,000 employees, providing IT services, consultancy, outsourcing, business consultancy to hundreds of thousands of major clients in 40 countries around the world.
CGI have had a relationship with Skillsoft for almost 20 years, which started originally with a small subscription to CAD training for Lotus Notes. Of course, that's grown over the years as our business has grown and our business needs have grown.
One of our biggest specific skills challenges that we faced was ensuring that we were combining both personal and professional development within our learning programme, so providing a framework that was easy to access anywhere at any time for our employees to use, that developed the right balance of personal development but also professional development specifically linked to business strategy.
CGI has quite a long list of requirements for what they need in a virtual e-learning partner. We look for a modern and attractive platform and interface. Being a global organisation, we require content that's in various different languages, the interface in various different languages as well. We need to be able to support many different PC configurations so that user experience is straightforward and seamless for our employees.
In the UK, we like to promote learning in a variety of ways. We meet people face to face on our UK roadshows, where we go into each of our offices for a few hours a day and talk to our employees, find out what challenges they're facing and how they're using our learning provision.
E-learning is quite an important element of most of our learning solutions because our Skillsoft platform is the common global platform that we have across the entire company. We have recently implemented an approach called Everyone Learning Everywhere, which is our implementation of the Charles Jennings 70-20-10 model.
Our business is based on bringing innovative and new ideas to our clients, so we need to ensure that all of our employees are able to learn on the job through new experiences, through setting new challenges as well, but also through coaching, mentoring and peer support, and also formal learning provision.
The idea that learning is not something that just happens one day or one event or one course, that learning is a journey, and that in that journey you use a variety of different learning techniques and tools and modalities to help you develop your skills and knowledge and to help you move forward in your career.
And it's a really important part of our culture to encourage people to learn everywhere and at every opportunity as well.
The learning culture of CGI is enshrined in our member partnership management framework, which is part of the business management framework of the company, and details the company's commitment to our members to help them develop their skills and knowledge, to deliver to our clients and to help them have great careers in CGI.
I think we've come a long way. In fact, we've made a lot of changes, a lot of improvements. There's been a lot of effort put into getting the offerings that we need right. I think for the future, for the Skillsoft programme, I'd like to make better use of the Skillsoft value impact analysis. That will certainly help and contribute towards the improvements in measurement that we need to do.
One of the things I've been really grateful for is the support the Skillsoft account team has given me in developing the learning programmes and frameworks here in the UK. They've ensured that I'm identifying the right courses, the right interventions at the right level for our employees to use.
I'm passionate about learning, and that's what I ask for members of my team. And I think I'm very lucky because I have a truly great team, probably the best team I've ever worked with in my career.
Lovely video. Well, as we said earlier, we show you films, we bring you the stars of those films. So, we've got all of them here. Please welcome to the stage, ladies and gentlemen, from CGI. We've got Alexandra Hopkins, we've got Jo Venn and Sarah Camp, and we also have from the Skillsoft account team, we've got Ian Bartlett. You could all come up to the stage. That would be great. Why don't you grab a pew there? This is a full panel we have here. As I said to you earlier, please do fire your questions. We've already got some via the app. We're also got microphones roaming around, and if you avoid either of those things, but you just have a passionate question that suddenly comes your way, fling up your hand, and we'll try to get to as many of you as we can. But we'll kick off with some thoughts that have already... In fact, let me start by saying the 70-20-10. I said we would explain what it was for anybody who didn't know. You're sitting nearest to me, Alexandra. Go on then. You're in the fire line. What is 70-20-10?
Well, I'm sure the vast majority, if not everyone in this room, understands how we learn as individuals. It has been shown scientifically 70% of our learning comes through on-the-job experiences by testing out new things, by setting ourselves new challenges, work shadowing, doing things on the job. 20% of our learning comes via other people as well, so working collaboratively through networks, groups, teams, through coaching and mentoring. And just 10% of our learning has been shown to come through formal interventions. So when we're looking at learning at CGI and what we provide our people, we're ensuring that we're enabling them to learn through all of those facets, enabling them to develop, retain and focus on certain bits of their jobs, but opening up the opportunities for them and enabling them to record those opportunities. As I'm sure most of you appreciate, recording on-the-job learning is an absolute nightmare. Recording the learning through coaching and mentoring is an absolute nightmare. But we're having to be more better at being able to enabling them to record those learning journeys.
That is a very comprehensive answer. So very straightforward. No, that's terrific.
I do talk a lot.
Well, that's great. That's perfect for a panel discussion. Joe, I want to come to you. You mentioned there you've worked with Skillsoft for 20 years.
Yes. Well, Skillsoft had a relationship with CGI for 20 years.
Yeah, not necessarily personally. But in terms of managing that relationship and growing it, and we'll come to you in a moment about that, how difficult is that?
Difficult? No, it's not difficult at all. We have a great team from Skillsoft that support us. So, we've been able to develop over the years. Interestingly, CGI a couple of years ago made an acquisition of Logica. Logica also had a relationship with Skillsoft, so we were able to bring those two sites, the experience of those two companies together, and to continue to develop, our learning programs and our relationship with Skillsoft today.
Ian?
Yeah, just to build on that, it's CGI is a very dynamic organisation, so having a team that can actually address different business units within different geographies certainly helps. So we say a lot around alignment and making sure that alignment's key. We also talk around business fit, because a business fit in Canada may be different from France to Asia Pac. And with Skillsoft, what we try and do is get the right resources aligned to make sure we can support the team do that. Because it's all about driving utilisation on business results, but also about getting engagement. If we can couple those engagement areas and utilisation, we get a very powerful story. And that's what we've been trying to do for the relationship.
Absolutely. We found it wasn't that many years ago that our employees were overwhelmed by the amount of content that we had in the catalogue. So I know we keep hearing that word today, alignment, but that really is key. We have had to align the content to learning programs, to our learning frameworks, making relevant content available at the point of need, and that's certainly helped to grow our program with Skillsoft and adoption.
Sorry, your thought on that, in terms of making content global, making it relevant, is that one of the great challenges for your business?
Absolutely. I mean, you've heard that we work across different geographies, different languages, cultures, so our learning requirements are really quite comprehensive. And to do that, we've sort of implemented a governance model to help us make our learning sort of global in nature, but also to supplement our global model, governance model, we've also implemented a learning asset management register, whereby we record all our learning learning programs that we have. Also, we have meta tagged it so we can actually help find learning really easily within our learning teams. And we've also sort of tried to categorise it by the different types of learning that we have within our organisation, and coupled with that with what we use for Skillsoft. We also work really, I mean, we've got 75 learning specialists that work across the globe, and we work quite closely together. We continuously share our knowledge with each other and try and really make all our programs really global and make sure our programs are strategically aligned.
Which is all great. Alex, you must along the way have made mistakes, learnings, things always go wrong. Even at the BBC, remarkably, things go wrong sometimes. What lessons have you learned?
I think that the biggest lesson that I've learned is that the global solution doesn't always fit the local market. So I'm constantly battling with, yes, I must do what CGI says, and whatever comes down from Canada. But then I have to mould that, shape it, and sometimes translate it back into the UK market, back into our language, back into our culture. And that's the same with all learning programs, that it has to suit your market. And it's not just the global versus UK, it's the different business units, the different functions within the company. I mean, we're a very diverse IT and business process services company, but we have corporate functions, we have our HR teams, finance, marketing, all of the people we can't exist without. So everything has to be customised for greatest effect, and that's the biggest challenge. And it's where we can often slip up, because people are very happy to say when it doesn't go well. We do encourage them to say good things as well, but as we all know, it's easier to say negative things sometimes than it is positive.
Jo, you are enthusiastically nodding.
Yeah, I think for me, I see the inhibitors from the technical side. So I think we're always looking at what we can do to remove those inhibitors. And something we're focused on at the moment is the implementation of single sign-on, so we can get our learners into the platform to that learning seamlessly. And we're behind the curve with moving over to a Java-free solution. We're itching to get there. We're just having to wait for CGI to catch up with a modern browser so that we can do that. But it's... ironic. The IT company, is behind the times. But it's like the mechanic in his own car, So it's removing those inhibitors. So the technical side of things need to work.
I mean, Sarah, is there ever a kind of global? So will we head towards a more global solution, or do you think the business become more fractured and more individually focused?
No, I think our management model that we have, our management foundation that we actually work really well with in CGI, really keeps us aligned and making sure that we will continue to be globally aligned and work on a global nature. We have to for the success and survival of our business.
I mean, Ian, from a Skillsoft perspective, raises interesting questions, and they change all the time, right?
It does. Unfortunately, for Skillsoft being a global organisation, we have relevant staff, and as an account team, we very much view, and the relationship goes, as you said, 20 odd years. It goes as the account team is CGI and Skillsoft together. We have the right resources and the people in the room around here from, Vanessa, who's here from the learning strategists. We have support staff, we have application engineers, we have the mapping specialists. We have a lot of people there to support in local markets as well. Because we recognise what Alex said, it's great having a global strategy, and that works a lot for horizontal functions, but local markets do differ, and both the Skillsoft platform plus the content you can align to that really does deliver on that, as long as you've got that connected approach. So we have regular communication meetings to make sure we're all in line with what we're looking to address. We do track against those key metrics. We talked about the value impact analysis. It's very much the next step about how do we measure that engagement. We know that the members are accessing content and it's relevantly aligned, but how do you actually relate that back to the business objectives? So it goes back to what Kieran was mentioning about starting with the end goal and feeding back. That's the way we have been over the last couple of years. If we do that from a corporate function, but also in local markets, it really gets that togetherness.
Here's a question we've been given. I like the idea of the roadshows you lay on. How do you communicate that with your employees so they remain open to attending and don't feel imposed upon? We've all been told about things that it would be great if you went to, and then you turn up with kind of heavy heart. How do you avoid it? Sarah, how do you avoid that?
I think we promote a open culture within CGI. So we've got a Synergy platform, which is basically our internal intranet site. We also have a conversations board where we sort of promote that. And we do actively encourage our employees to attend, but we don't have a big whip and say, you must attend.
Which you quite like. I mean, what sort of returns do you get? Did you get a big buy-in?
Yes, we.
Fire away.
We do. So our roadshows are there for the consumer, basically for our clients who are our employees. They're invited to attend. It tend to be we're in the canteen in an obvious place with some banner stands. We're doing a bit of marketing. We're not pulling them to us. Well, hopefully we're pulling them to us. We're attracting them to come and talk to us. But we're showing that we're there for them. We exist as a function to help our employees become more effective, more efficient. Obviously, we're also there to drive corporate strategy as well. But at the time, at the roadshows, we're there for our employees. And we get a great response. People come and talk to us. They bring us lunch. They bring their lunch to us, and they have a chance to tell us directly what they want, what's working for them, what's not working for them, and then we take action. And that's the most important bit of the roadshow, is the taking action afterwards. We take all the feedback, all the comments, and then we do stuff with it immediately. We then post news articles, comments on what we've actually done post that feedback.
Because Joe, that's crucial, isn't it? When you get all this information, all this feedback, all these opinions, not just to do something with it, but to be seen to be doing something with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that Alex is very good at in the UK, but we need to get a bit better at globally across the organisation. We're pretty good at monitoring consumption and adoption, and getting feedback, the feel-good factor. My role, I've just moved into this role as global vendor manager. So on my action plan is, right, how can we need to get better at measurements? So what next? And that's the value impact analysis. And we're behind Pete and Lloyd. It was great to hear what you had to say this morning, Pete. And hopefully we'll be where you are in a year's time.
There we go. Right. Well, tell us a bit about the future. And you've mentioned a couple of things that you want to go to. What is the plan, Joe?
Well, yeah, I think I've probably mentioned most of it at the moment. It's removing those inhibitors, enabling easy access to make sure that our members know where to go, or even, they don't have to look for it. It's there, it's at their fingertips. Something also we want to do this year is, having implemented those changes, those improvements, we then want to get a campaign off the ground internally. Maybe later on in the summer, so that we can promote, raise awareness, and say, hey, e-learning is not all about mandated compliance. There's a hell of a lot more here that we could be, you could be using.
Yeah, I mean, Ian, is that something for the industry to take on? Is to take away the kind of stick element of this and get more buy-in from employees?
Yeah, very much. I mean, carrot and stick, it's effective in certain places. Compliance is the prime example. When you have to be compliant, the organisation knows it. The CGI is no different. There's a global mandate to get some compliance training done. It gets done. The other flip side to that is the entice me. It's the what's in it for the end user, the member. And if you can get that information from them, record it, and like you guys were saying, act on it, and they can see them acting on it, they'll get that buy-in, and that leads to the reward a bit further down the line. But the entice me is quite interesting, because it is different from the you have to do this because it's compliant. If it's to benefit you as a person, promote you as a job, or move into a different area, there's more of a buy-in from a global perspective on that bit as well.
Got a question, a big hand going up there.
I have a very loud voice.
Oh, you do, don't you? Well done, sir.
Just with regards to the balance between classroom-based training and e-learning, how does that work out? Because with a consulting business, you've probably got a lot of soft skills and how to stand up in front of people and shout and be heard. How does that balance work out?
It very much depends on what we're trying to achieve. Is it something that can be solved via a short e-learning interaction? Is it something that requires a formal certification exam or qualification? As you'll appreciate, the business is so diverse, and what we're trying to do as a business is diverse. We need qualified people, therefore we need to do the formal training. But we're under time pressure and everyone needs to be effective and delivering 110% of the time normally. So the e-learning option is there. So what we can do is often offer similar an e-learning ITIL, for example, ITIL qualification, make sure that we're offering that in e-learning format and classroom format, and that they're equally as good, they're rated as highly, but we're catering to two types of market, and that's where we can be good.
What would be the balance between the two then? What's the uptake of e-learning versus the old farts that still want to do it the old-fashioned way?
We've gone through a lot of change as an organisation over the last 3 years, particularly here in the UK, through the acquisition. So at the moment, our uptake in formal learning, so classroom-based courses, is through the roof. Because for the last 3 years, since the acquisition, the feeling has been, there's no training budget, there's no learning for me. So what we've done is we've gone, okay, there is loads of money, we've got loads of money to spend. Go and do formal learning provision, and then people go and do it, and then the response is, I haven't really got time to do that. We go, that's fine, we've got an e-learning solution. We had that before, but we just continually react to the market and what the feedback is. We've still got the same two solutions, but we just flex the marketing of those depending on the mood, the feeling and feedback.
Right, quick word from all four of you before we wrap up. What's the single thing that people should take away from this day, looking ahead over the next few years? What's going to be the big move in the industry, the big thought that people should take? Why don't we start with you, Ian?
Yeah, I'll probably come back to something I mentioned before. I do generally think, I used to think it was all about utilisation. If you get high utilisation on anything, I take your point about classroom training as well, because it's all about balance between, is the enterprise got the right resources in place, and if they're on the bench, can they get retrained? But utilisation is great and it takes you so far, but if you don't have engagement, there's a bit that's lost. And engagement can be with your own job role, with what's in it for you, do you identify with the business objectives, and how do you move forward? So my real last point, I suppose, is utilisation is great, but it's even better if you can get engagement and utilisation.
Yeah.
Sarah?
I think for me it's very much about making our offerings as diverse for the needs of our members, as Alex has just said. You know, we've got lots of people on projects, we've got diverse cultures, we've got lots of learning styles in an organisation. So it's being able to cater and design our sort of learning programmes accordingly to make sure we meet those needs.
Jo, one takeaway?
I would say quite simply, personalised learning, relevant learning at the point of need.
And Alex, the other three have gone, so you've got to come up with...
Think of something brilliant now. I think from my point of view, what I'm trying to do is use our providers, use our team internally, but make sure that learning is up there with recruitment, engagement, employee relations, everything else, all the other functions, to make sure that it's a totally integrated offering and that we're selling the brand from attraction through selection, through development, through everything else, from, I think we said it earlier, didn't we, from hire to retire. It's a consistent thing, and we have to keep the same messaging.
Hire to retire is better than from socks to sex. Just to say that these guys come up here and they don't know what questions you're going to throw to them, and you know, sitting in front of hundreds of people is not always the most relaxing way to spend your afternoon. So let's have a big fun for Ian and for Sarah and for Jo, for Alex. Thank you so much for your time. Great stuff. Thank you.